you tell me, hey, you have to repair your lock's door. And I say, excuse me? Sorry? And you repeat, yes, you have to repair your lock's door. And I say, you mean that I have to repair the lock of the door. Why? Why I didn't understand at the beginning? Because you use the apostrophe S with lock, and lock is an object, right? If you say the lock's door, it means that the door belongs to the lock, and it's not the same. I mean, it's not correct, right? The lock is a part of the door. The lock is a part of the door, right? So it is included in the door, not on the contrary, right? All right, very good. Don't worry, because we are going to have a look at this, and all of you are going to understand very well the difference between the apostrophe S and the of structure. As you can see, today we are here broadcasting from a very exotic country. We are in Bangkok. As you can see here, this on my back is the Erawan temple in Bangkok. And also in Bangkok there are a lot of people who speak English also, because as you know, it's a tourist country. There are lots of people who go to Thailand every year, particularly to Bangkok, right? Very good. So let's go to our PowerPoint presentation to have a look at the of structure. But before, let me remind you about giving me your likes if you like the sessions, your comments, your suggestions, because this way I will be able to explain, to clear up every possible doubt you may have, and also some other people that are part of this family of the channel that also follows the channel will check maybe some questions, some doubts, some comments that they hadn't thought about before, right? Very good. So let's go to our PowerPoint presentation. All right, and here we are. We can see the logo of the channel, session 3, the of structure, and a reminder, as you know, that I usually give you some images in order to remind you about, or to advance, in this case to advance, the usage, right, of the structure that we're going to see. In this case, we're talking about the name of the dog, or the dog's name. In this case, because it's an animal, we have both options, right? With animals, we can use both. We can say of, and we can use the apostrophe S, right? But not so with people. Very good. So we're going to start with the of structure. Objects. The of structure is typically used with objects, right? So as you can see, we say the lock of the door. We don't say the door's lock, because we're dealing with objects, right? And the lock doesn't belong to the door, all right? Now, the light of the lamp. We never say the lamp's light. The leg of the table, not the table's leg. The name of the street. We say the name of the street because street is an object, but when we're dealing with an animal, as we have seen at the beginning, right, we say the dog's name or the name of the dog. Up to you, right? As you want. Long phrases or sentences. What happens when we are working with a long phrase or a long sentence? For example, imagine in this first case, we are talking about the glasses of the man who supervises our work. The glasses of the man, right? Why don't we say the man's glasses? Because it's not any man, right? We are talking about a specific man, the man who supervises our work. So all that is the subject. If you want to use the apostrophe S, you will have to say the man who supervises our work's glasses. And could be confusing in English, right? Because it's very long. For this reason, we prefer to say the glasses of the man who supervises our work, right? Exactly the same with the next example. The office of Lindsay and her new boyfriend, right? The office of Lindsay and her new boyfriend. Why aren't we used apostrophe s? For example, we could say Lindsay's office. Yeah, but it's not Lindsay's office. It's Lindsay's boyfriend, Lindsay's office and her new boyfriend. So the office belongs to both of them, right? Because it's a little bit long, then we prefer to use of in this case. Let's continue. Relation with human activity. So in this case, for example, we are talking about a plan. But who has a plan? Normally people. Because plan is directly related with people, we can use the apostrophe s with the word plan, and we say the plan's importance, right? But you can also say the importance of the plan. In this case, we have both options, because on the one hand, plan is an object, but on the other hand, it's directly related to people, right? Exactly the same as when we say the book's author or the author of the book. Because we are talking about a book, which is an object, we can use the of structure. But because we are talking about the author, which is a person, we can use the apostrophe s, right? The book's author. All right, place names. What happens with names of places? Africa, for example, we can talk about Africa's future. We can use the apostrophe s, but we can also use the of structure. We can say the future of Africa, right? The same with Manchester, Manchester's early history, or the early history of Manchester. So with geographical names, with place names, we can use both, as you can see, right? Here, a couple of images have appeared that reminds us of this usage, right? In the first one, what's the price of that holiday? The price of the holiday. The name of the ship was Wonder Queen. But we can also say the holiday's price, or we can say the ship's name, right? So in this case, we could use both also, no? And as you can see, you can read on the top, the title of this slide is Sessions 2 and 3, the of structure. Why? Because in this case, I'm going to give you the practice of related to of and the apostrophe s, right? So what you have to do? You have to fill in the gaps with of or the apostrophe s, deciding from them. I have to tell you that this section of practice, apart from being an exercise that I give you to practice with it, with the contents we have already seen, right? It's at the same time a section of practice where you are going to put into practice things that you can say normally in your normal lives. With what? Obviously with with the of structure, or with the apostrophe s, because the objective is to put into practice what we have learned. For this reason, I recommend you to think about your normal lives and what you usually do in your normal life with your family, with your friends, at home, at work, and which type of things would you need to say using the of structure or the apostrophe s, and try to practice saying them, right? I have done myself this practice for you this time by giving you some normal sentences that people would normally say with of or the apostrophe s, but as an exercise, right, that you will have to solve and we will correct next week. So these are the sentences that you will have to use in brackets to fill the gaps using of or the apostrophe s, right? Here is a reminder. I've already told you in some other previous sessions that I recommend using agendaweb.org, or in this case, this is because to practice with the of structure or with the apostrophe s in Agenda Web, there aren't usually exercises, right? For this reason, I have prepared this special website, this exercise in this website for you. You can go there, you can find the exercise, solve it and correct it, because there you have the key, right? And of course you can also go to mansionenglish.com if you want to practice or to learn some grammar in Spanish. I also remind you to use www.wordreference.com as a dictionary, because it's a very good dictionary online, as I've already told you. And finally, an image has appeared here to see the difference between using the apostrophe s and using the of structure, as we have already seen, right? So the boy's ball or the legs of the table. Very good. And that's all for today. That's all for now, folks. If you like this channel, remember, sign up and become an active member of this big international family that follows this channel and enjoys learning and practicing English. Thank you very much for your attention. Enjoy your week and see you next week. Bye bye.